Hi everyone! I'm here today with a review of The House at Riverton by Kate Morton. I'll try to make it a very quick, non-spoiler free review. So if you haven't read the book, you're safe. This book starts from the scene where there's a famous writer who kills himself. And there are two sisters involved and no one really knows what really happened there, why he killed himself. There's going to be a film about it, in the book I mean, not in real life. And so now one of the servants who worked there at the time is remembering the past. So this book is set at the beginning of the 20th century, before the World War I. This book was definitely very, very interesting. I really enjoyed it. I didn't want to put it down. And whenever I stopped, I wanted to go back to this book and continue reading it because it was just interesting. It was perfectly paced. I wasn't bored by it, and also I liked the setting of this book. So some of the things were like in the present time when she's a very old woman. Sometimes I liked how she just went to the past and how they were discussing the film. It also helped me not being bored going back and forth in time. At the beginning of the book there is like a scene of the film, how it would be in the film, and I really could imagine it as a film, so I thought that was perfectly done. At the beginning also I got a little bit confused with who's relative, who's husband. I don't know why, but I just found it a bit difficult to keep track of who's husband, who's relative. So that was a little bit annoying. Then I think it became clearer to me as I was going further into the book. This book, I can definitely say that this is a very comfortable read. In this book there were moments of like a retrospective on the past, because the servant Grace obviously lived at the beginning of the 20th century, and now she was very old. I can't remember how old she was, but definitely more than 80 years. Closer to a century, possibly, I can't really remember. But it was quite interesting to see her perspective on how the things were in the past and how they are now, how many things have changed, how modern people react to the things that were in the past, the people who she talked to, how they thought of the past times and what she thinks of the present. I think it would be weird for someone to see how many things have changed, how people have changed, how many rules have changed and everything. It must be great at the same time to witness these changes. It will be like reading a history book, but you were there at the time, so you experienced it all by yourself. Do you know what I mean? I would say that this book is about many things, about loyalty, about friendship, sisters, relationship between the sisters and brothers, war. Two sisters at some point, it's not really a spoiler, it's just one of the details. Two sisters moved at some point for quite a while to a different place, and I could really see how they changed throughout those 2 years. The dialogues between them were different, their personalities were different, they wanted different things. That was really interesting, and it was realistic. I was really shocked with the ending. I guessed some of the things in the book, but the ending, I did not guess it at all. So even though you think that there are some bits in the book that you expect to come, that you think you know what's going to happen next, you don't. Sometimes you just don't. The book takes you by surprise. Also, I love that Grace just loves Sherlock Holmes books. I found it really cool because I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes fan. One thing that was bothering me a bit in this book though is that I don't like when authors do this thing that when they just suddenly throw a letter at you, or like a newspaper article or something, all of a sudden, out of the blue, you don't know why it is here, what exactly it is telling you. You just read it and then you forget about it, and then several pages after that, you see why it was there and you can't really remember what happened there because you didn't really pay attention to some of the details which are important now. So you need to come back to it and reread it to understand it better. That's annoying. On one hand, it is a really interesting thing to do. But at the same time, it irritates me. In this book also, the servants and the owners of the house and their children it felt really like there was a huge family. I liked how one of the main characters, I forgot to mention the sisters' names, by the way, it's Hannah and Emmeline. So Hannah was really, really kind to the servant of her age, which was Grace, I mean, and she behaved with her as she was her friend. That was really, really interesting. That's the first book that I saw that. Speaking more about the characters, I'm not sure if I liked Grace as a character. She was a bit, not weird, but I disagreed with some of her things that she did when she was young. At the beginning, my favorite character was Emmeline, but that was when she was really, really young. But then when the book went on, she was older, and her sister Hannah, now she was my favorite character because I understood her more, and she was, I don't know, she was different to Emmeline, and Emmeline changed a lot in the book, so I stopped liking her at all. But Hannah, I started really, really liking her, and so I think she was my favorite character. As for the writer who the book starts from, I'm not sure if I like him. Yeah, I think I do. There's nothing bad about him. I don't have many thoughts on him, but I can say that I liked him. Not that I loved him as a character a lot, but at the same time, he was an interesting character. Also, this book touches themes about war, how war changes people, and it is a big shame for me when I read a book about a war. I feel like those young men who could just live their own lives how they wanted, they had to go and fight and be killed and kill people. I think it's just horrible. It was really, really obvious in the book how war changes people, how they go there and when they come back they're never the same people, they're completely different people, and that's scary. So this book definitely made me think more of that. So overall, I really, really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars, and I certainly recommend this book. I would say this is a really, really good book. It's not like it's about one thing and then the rest of it is just like, you know, additional details. But no, this was a whole complex story where every single event made sense, and it brought something new to the story, it evolved the story, so it felt realistic. Please let me know in the comments down below if you read this book or if you're planning to read it. Thank you for watching. Bye.